Hey guys, what's up? I am Jody with Board Game Perspective. Today, we are taking a look at War of the Worlds: The New Wave. Now, this is a two-player only game, and it's asymmetrical with deck building. So in this game, the Martians have arrived in a large spaceship in the backwater districts of Scotland. Now, the alien forces and the human forces are going to be battling out to see who wins. So let's see how this game plays. So this is how the game is supposed to be set up here. Game board in the middle, and then each person is going to choose who is going to be the humans and who is going to be the aliens. Now each player, well, whoever chooses which one they're going to be, they're going to choose all of those tokens, buildings, cards of that player. So this is the human side here with the red. So you're going to grab all of your standees, your tokens, your cards, and same with the alien side as well. Now, on the board, there are going to be 3 dots on these little regions, and that's where you're going to put these civilian cubes. So you're going to put 3 cubes on each region that has those 3 dots. And then up here at the top of the board, there is an invasion ship where you will put the alien building that says invasion ship on that region. Then you will also put 1 UFO standee and then 1 tripod on that region as well. Each player will have their own offer deck and an offer pool where you will put 5 cards out that you can be choosing from. Then each player will also have their starting cards, which you will see in the upper right hand corner. There's different icons compared to the other cards that mean that they're the starting cards. And then each player is going to draw 5 cards to be their starting hand, and then you will have the rest of those cards in a supply pile. Now you're also going to need to have an area designated for your discard pile and also for a pile of cards that are discarded from the game. And then the alien player is going to be taking their first turn, and let's get going. So the overall game objective is for the humans to deal 30 damage to the aliens. So once it gets to 30, then the humans wins. And then the objective for the aliens is to annihilate all of the civilian tokens from the UK. So all of these civilian tokens will be off the board, and when that happens, the aliens win. So you'll be taking turns back and forth. Now this is a deck building game, so there's going to be a lot of cards involved. Now for this game, you're going to be drawing 5 cards from your supply deck, and then each player is going to be playing all of these cards. Now you can choose to take the actions or not, but either way you have to discard all of these cards into the discard pile, and then you would draw 5 more cards from the supply deck. Now if you didn't have enough cards in the supply deck to give you 5 cards, then you would shuffle your discard pile, and that would become to the supply deck as well, and then you will finish filling up your hand to 5 cards. So during the player's turn, you have options to purchase some of these cards from the offer pool here. Now the cost of each card is in the upper right hand corner. So these are all 4s, this is a 3 and that's a 4. And you can purchase these cards by the cards that you play on your turn. So this is my current hand, my 5 cards. Now these cards right here, the power supply cards, I got some spending ability here, so I would choose to do 3 spending power, and I could get this card for 3. Now whenever you purchase a card, this goes immediately to your discard pile, and then you immediately replenish that card with a new card. And you are allowed to purchase multiple cards during your turn. If you have any remaining resources available, those cannot be saved for future turns. They all are spent during that turn. Now, once per turn, you are allowed to choose one card from the offer pool and replace it with another card on top of the deck, and then the card that was replaced you will then put on the bottom of the deck. If you do purchase a building card, which we will go over more in detail later, that card does not get immediately placed in your discard pile, but rather you take care of the building card and then you will be discarding it from the game. Let's go over the cards a little more in detail. So, like I mentioned earlier, the cost to purchase the cards are in the upper right hand corners. Now, I have examples of the human and the aliens for different types of cards. So there's three main types of cards. We have action cards, building cards, and unit cards. The action cards have these symbols for both the human and alien cards with these little arrows. And then you have building cards, which have these symbols. This is the alien and that's the human. And then you have unit cards, which have a few different symbols, but they have just unit symbols in the upper left-hand corners. Now each card will have things that you can do. You have to read each one, they're a little bit different. But if you see a card that has different actions separated by lines, you cannot choose all of those, you simply choose one. So for instance, this card right here has three options that I could take. So I would only be able to choose one of those on this turn. Let's go over a couple examples of a couple alien action cards, the ones with the arrows. So this is two examples. If these cards were played on my turn, I could perform these actions. Now this one is just simply money to spend, resources to spend to purchase more cards from my offer pool. And then, so because there's a line here, I can choose one of these actions. So that is just money to spend. Or if I want to do this, I could discard this card from the game completely and then have 2 spending power. So that's that card. Let's go over this one here. This is a reap card. I have 3 options I can choose from. The first one is destroy 1 unprotected civilian token in a region containing a tripod. So for the aliens, this is the tripod right here. Now there are no civilian tokens within my region, and you see all these different regions on the board separated by these lines, and also the water too. Now I could not perform the first action because I have no civilian tokens in a region where a tripod is. So the second is move any one tripod unit to an adjacent land region. So I could simply grab my tripod and move there. And the last thing you could do is discard this card from the game and have 2 resources to spend to pick up a card. Now let's look at a couple of human action cards. Now this one right here is relocate. So I could choose one of these 3 options down here. Move any one civilian token to an adjacent land region. So for instance, I could grab one of these civilian tokens here and just simply move it to a different land region. The second thing is just spending power to buy a card and discard this card from the game and get 2 spending power. So that's that card. Let's go over gorillas. Now this one is, this symbol is dealing damage, which we'll go over in a little more detail later. But in a region with a civilian token, if that token did not already deal damage this turn, you can deal 1 damage to an alien unit. A tripod, because UFOs, you cannot deal damage to UFOs. And then this one down here is the same concept, but if you discard this card, you can deal 2 damage. Now, in this example right here, I have civilian tokens with a tripod in here, so I could perform one of these actions and deal damage to this. So if I did this top one here, I could increase the track over there and deal 1 damage to a tripod unit. Now let's go over some building cards. So let's go over aliens first. Now, when you purchase a building card from the offer pool, you immediately take care of the card. So what you're going to do is you're going to grab the corresponding alien building token that says plasma reactor, which from the supply, which is this one. All right, and then you're going to discard this card from the game completely. What this token is going to do though is it's going to give you an extra 2 spending power per turn. Alright, so this card gets discarded from the game, and then now you can place this token on the board. Now, each region on the board can only have one token, whether it's a building token, whether it's a human or an alien token. Now, for the aliens, you can place this token on a region that's adjacent to a alien building token that's already out there. So to start the game, this invasion ship alien token, building token is already out there. So you could place it adjacent. You got to build off of it. Now, you can only place this building token in a region where there are no other human units, so no human units on the region, no civilian tokens on a region, and no human buildings on a region. So right here, this region is empty and adjacent to this alien building token, so I could then place this building token right there, and I would actually place it like that, and this means I can have 2 spinning power each turn now. So let's say the humans just purchased this card from the offer pool on their turn. And this is a building card by this symbol. So this is a tank factory. So you're going to grab the tank factory token from the supply. And what this is going to do is provide all army units that have their defense, it's going to be increased to 2 defense. So all of your army units that are out will have 2 defense. So this card now gets discarded from the game, and you can place this token on the board. Now for humans, you can place this token on any region where you already have a civilian token, but there cannot be any other building tokens in that region, and there cannot be any alien units in that region as well. So for instance, I could just simply put my building token right there. Now let's go over some unit cards. So if you were to purchase a unit card from the offer pool, then you immediately place that corresponding unit onto the board. So let's go over a few examples and say that we just bought, all these cards were just bought from the offer pool, okay? So let's go over this one first. So this is a tripod unit. So I would grab a tripod from my supply and place it on the board. Now for alien units, they always enter in at this top area on the board where the invasion ship building token is. So this is where all alien units enter. So I would place this unit on that board, and then this would go into my discard pile. Same thing for UFOs, it's just simply I grab my UFO and place it on that same area. Now for the humans, there are some different scenarios. So this one is for your Navy ship by this symbol here. So I would grab a Navy ship from my supply, and this always enters on the Portsmouth area right here in the water. All right, whoops, just kidding. And then you lastly are these army units. So I would grab this token, and this could go anywhere on the board that there is not, it's a non-hostile region. So I can place this an area where there's no alien units, and then at least 1 civilian token on the board. Now let's say it is the alien's turn, and this is your hand of 5 cards you have to play. Now there are some unit cards in this hand, notated by these icons over here. Now, whenever these come up in your hand on your turn, this allows you to control units. Now you cannot use 2 of the 2 unit cards on 1 single unit. For instance, this is a UFO card. I'm going to do the top action, and I can move 1 UFO unit up to 2 regions. So I have 1 UFO out here, right here. So he's going to move 2 regions. Okay, so then that card has been used and goes to the discard pile. Now I have another UFO unit, but I cannot use this again on this UFO because I can only use 2 unit cards per unit. Now, whenever this happens, and I only have 1 unit out here, I can now actually use this card to recruit another UFO unit from my supply and onto the board. So this card would be discarded. I could grab another UFO unit, and of course it enters on the board up here in the invasion ship area. Now, you can, however, use a unit card and multiple action cards on the same unit. You just can't use 2 unit cards on the same unit. So let's go over an example. So for this tripod, I'm gonna use the top action and move 1 tripod unit to an adjacent land region. So I'm gonna get this tripod here and just simply move him here. and then that's that card. And that was a unit card, so I cannot use another unit card on this tripod. But I can use action cards on the same unit. So I will do the second action and move my tripod another adjacent region. So there. Let's go over moving units and attacking with units. Now, UFO units can move in any region on the board and attack any region. So the UFO units can move on all the land regions and also on the water regions as well and attack. Now the tripods can only move on land and attack on land, and same thing with these Army units. They can only move on land and attack on land. Now the Navy units can only go on the water, but they can attack coastal regions. So humans deal damage by attacking tripods and alien buildings. Now humans though can never attack UFO units. Alien standees and buildings are never removed from the game. For each damage dealt to an alien unit or building, you will advance this damage marker over here by 1. Let's go over an example of a human dealing damage to an alien unit. Okay, so this card, the Army card, we're going to do the second action. So we're going to deal 2 damage in a region with an Army unit. So this region up here has an Army unit and an alien building. So I will do 2 damage to this alien building. So I'll move the tracker up here by 2 points. Now this remains on the board because alien buildings and units never leave the board. Now let's go over dealing damage to human forces. Now you will deal damage to civilian tokens, human buildings, and human Army units and Navy units. Now each of those units has a basic defense value of 1, unless there are special building tiles out here that say otherwise. For instance, this building tile we placed out earlier says that the human Army unit has a defense value of 2 instead. Another thing to note is there is an order to which the alien units have to deal damage. So let's say all this stuff is in this one region here. Now the alien unit first has to deal damage to the human building, and then the human units, and then civilian tokens. So these are always last. And these are considered to be protected because there is a human building in here. Now if there were not all these units in here, then these would be considered unprotected units. Any human units that have been defeated are removed from the board. Now let's go over a quick example. So say this card has been played, a tripod card. Let's do this second action here that says 2 damage in a region with a tripod unit. So let's do this one right here. And so what we would do is simply remove 2 civilian tokens from the board, from the board, and because there are no other building tiles or units, then we can attack those immediately. Now let's say in this region with the tripod, there is a human bunker building token there. Now what this is a defense of 2 instead of the normal 1. Now in order to defeat these, you have to be able to deal that amount of damage or greater on that turn. So let's say back to this example of the tripod card where I deal 2 damage in a region with my tripod unit. So now, because a human building is in there, I have to defeat this first before I can attack the civilian tokens. And because this is a 2, I have to defeat this all in one turn in order to get this off the board. So thankfully, this has 2 damage, so I could deal 2 damage to this 2 defense and defeat this, and this is removed from the board. Now there are some cards that you can play on your turn that might allow you to play these special tokens. For instance, there is a nerve agent and some landmines. Now the rules for each one of these are described on the card, and there's also an appendix at the back of the rule book that goes over these in detail. So the game ends whenever the alien damage token is all the way up to 30. If that's the case, then the human forces win. Now for the aliens, if they can kill all of these UK civilian tokens, remove them from the board, all of these tokens, then the alien forces win. There you have it. That is how you play World of Worlds. Now if you liked what you saw today, go ahead and help us out by subscribing to our channel, liking this video, And if this game seems like a game you might be interested in getting, we do have an affiliate link in the description below where you can get this game. Now, thanks for watching, and we hope to see you next time.